Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a genuinely fascinating digital phenomenon. We're going to deconstruct exactly how highly niche, feature-length documentaries are not just surviving, but literally thriving on a platform that's basically famous for short attention spans. If you've ever found yourself glued to a screen late at night watching a massive deep dive into something you'd never given a second thought to before, well, you're in the right place.
So it really begs the central question. Why on earth do we watch 4-hour explainers about things we don't even care about? It's kind of the ultimate mystery box paradox of the modern internet. Just think about your own 3 a.m. viewing habits for a second. Have you ever fallen down a rabbit hole, utterly captivated by a subject that has absolutely zero relevance to your daily life, but in that moment, it suddenly feels like the most important thing in the world?
Okay, let's dive into this. A viewer once perfectly summed up this paradox when talking about creator Jenny Nicholson, saying her superpower is getting them to watch an almost 3-hour-long piece about something they do not care about. Specifically, Nicholson did a 2.5-hour deep dive into the CW show The Vampire Diaries, and it captivated millions of viewers, many of whom had literally never seen a single episode. It just goes to show, the hallmark of a great digital essay is its ability to suck you in purely through the passion, the structure, and the sheer personality of the presenter.
And hey, if you thought 2.5 hours was long, try 5 hours, 34 minutes, and 58 seconds. Yeah, and the wildest part, that is just part one. That's the actual runtime of creator Quentin Review's staggering dissection of the Nickelodeon teen sitcom Victorious. These creators are pushing the absolute boundaries of runtime, putting out content that is basically the length of an entire miniseries. And you know what? Audiences are eating it up. This vast ecosystem is packed with heavy hitters who have completely mastered the genre. You've got Defunctland giving us these premium documentaries on theme park histories, like the incredibly complex class warfare of the Disney Fast Pass. You've got Folding Ideas exploring the psychology of flat earthers, ContraPoints dissecting cancel culture, and Sarah Z digging into internet fandoms. And then you have these highly specialized channels like Historia Civilis, which uses minimalist, geometric animations to give us these incredible play-by-play breakdowns of Roman battle tactics. Whether it's pop culture postmortems or the intense complexities of classical Roman military strategy, these creators are bringing academic rigor straight to the masses.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how different niches uniquely balance the production times with specific visual assets and monetization models. An investigative documentary, for instance, might take 3 to 6 months to produce, heavily relying on 3D terrain mapping and archival footage. Meanwhile, cultural postmortems might only take 2 to 4 weeks, leveraging pop culture clips and targeted sponsorships. Every single niche has to build a specific retention engine, basically a hook to keep you watching. That could be through suspenseful mystery arcs, intellectual tension, or just pure, unadulterated nostalgia.
But why does the platform actually reward these massive projects in the first place? Let's peel back the curtain and look at the actual math. The Systemic Distribution Index is, essentially, an optimization equation. It calculates algorithmic success based on 3 main things: the probability that you'll click on it, its total chronological duration, and a continuous viewer engagement metric, which just means how much of the initial audience is still hanging around at any given timestamp.
And here is the big gotcha reveal. While high viewer retention on a punchy 10-minute upload is great, it simply cannot compete mathematically with high retention on a 2-hour epic. Why? It's all about those dense mid-roll ad opportunities. A feature-length piece has a programmatic ad density coefficient that scales directly with its length. So if a creator can keep you engaged for hours, the financial upside for both the creator and the platform is incredibly lucrative.
So, how do these analytical essayists deliberately game that math? Well, they follow 3 vital steps. First, they maximize click-through rates with super compelling titles and thumbnails. Second, they utilize masterful structural pacing. They balance those dense factual segments with high-impact visual anchors so you never feel overwhelmed. And third, they sustain continuous viewer engagement by relying on investigative suspense. They treat their subject matter like a high-stakes mystery that needs solving, which keeps that retention integral as high as possible, for as long as possible.
Section 2. Storytime and Animation. The Power of Relatability.
Shifting gears for a second from those heavy, data-driven documentaries to pure emotional connection, let's trace the trajectory of James Rallison, better known as The Odd Ones Out. Back in May 2012, he started out with these really complex character designs, but by December, he hit a massive motivation wall and nearly quit, simply because the production was just too labor-intensive. To survive the platform's constraints, he adopted. In April 2013, he drastically simplified his visual style into highly recognizable, simple bubble characters. This pivot massively sped up his production time, eventually allowing him to hit 400,000 subscribers by May 2016.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real genius of that pivot. By simplifying his art style, his content became universally accessible. He could focus entirely on relatable, unpolished human vulnerability. He'd tell stories about the everyday agonies of working at a sandwich shop. Customers aggressively yelling, "onions," or playing games to see how long coworkers could survive in the walk-in freezer. These mundane, teenage retail stories morphed into universally resonant comedic experiences.
That relatable authenticity completely skyrocketed his channel. He blew past 3 million subscribers, a milestone he famously celebrated by filling a literal swimming pool with sprinkles. It just proves that in a media space that's increasingly dominated by sterile, corporate branding, audiences are desperately craving genuine, human-centric narratives.
Section 3, the cost of creation, artistic ambition versus algorithmic demand.
Let's bring the narrative back to the human element here and talk about the immense toll this medium takes on the people actually making it. So the crucial point is this: the algorithm heavily penalizes long gaps between uploads. If you're an independent creator producing high-concept documentaries, like, say, meticulously animating the intricacies of Roman battle tactics like we talked about earlier, that takes months of intensive labor. That artistic ambition is on a direct collision course with the algorithmic demand for a constant, never-ending stream of content.
Let's move on and see how this builds. Because of this relentless pressure, we're seeing a massive strategic split in the community. The data points to a few grim outcomes: severe creator burnout, creators abandoning their channels entirely after just a couple of massive releases, or brilliant creators being forced to transition into much shorter, more financially viable formats. The harsh economics of the platform are basically forcing a compromise on quality.
Which leaves us with this final, poignant question to consider. Can the golden age of the long-form explainer actually survive the platform's relentless demand for content? As everything continues to be optimized for monetization, the dual threat of creator exhaustion and the rise of automated content looms really large. It's definitely something to chew on the next time you find yourself absolutely captivated by a masterpiece of a documentary at 3 a.m. What was the human cost of that creation? Thank you so much for exploring this with me today, and keep asking questions about the media you consume.